So, do you want some spoilers?
About what? The time?
No, I watched Joker 2 last night.
Oh, yep. I was never going to see that anyway, so.
Okay. So, spoilers, y'all. I can't decide if it was a brilliant movie or if it was the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
So, I mean, it's a musical for one, right?
Yeah.
How familiar are you with like the Joker's uh, origin?
The proper Joker or the one in that movie?
No, the proper Joker.
Uh, Relatively. I mean, it's got a few different changes to it, but yeah.
So, what is your understanding of what the proper Joker's origin is?
Um, Honestly, I kind of like the Mask of the Phantasm version where he was someone's lackey at one point. Something happened, and then he became the Joker, and it's highly ambiguous about what happened.
So yeah, it's always been kind of ambiguous. So there's one version of it where it's this guy named Joe Cool, right? And he himself was never the Joker, but if I'm getting my story correct, if I'm remembering correctly, he was a criminal, did no good, and in one version of it, he was the one that actually killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
Oh, yep.
Well, in this, that didn't happen, but the character of Joe Cool is what inspired Joker to become Joker, and that's what we kind of get in this movie. Is Joker and Joker 2 is the guy that's in it, Arthur Fleck, inspires the person that will eventually become Joker. So that's the spoiler. I thought that was a pretty clever take on it because we've not yet seen that in the cinema, but it was, I don't know, almost a 2 hour. I'm gonna look it up now. I don't remember how long I sat there. And I mean, the songs were okay. I mean, the singing was great. You know, both Lady Gaga and let's see,
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin. I mean, they both were really excellent in it. Okay, so it was a 2 hour and 18-minute movie. Honestly, I feel like the movie itself was like this almost 2 hour and 18-minute or 2 hour and 17-minute joke with, you know, a 1 minute punchline. And they could have just shortened the whole thing up into like 18 minutes. There were a lot of very cinematic choices made.
Yeah.
That, you know, where they would have like a very slow pan or a very drawn out scene that could have been shortened up to make it a bit shorter. Yeah. Anyway.
Sounds like a banger.
Yeah, it was right proper, I guess. I don't know. My understanding too is a lot of Lady Gaga scenes were cut from it, so I wouldn't mind seeing more of her on screen just to see that character develop. But you know, I think that would be an interesting. I think that would be an interesting movie to watch.
Yeah, I can see that.
Speaking of spoilers, did you know that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's dad? You knew where I was going, didn't you?
I know we're terrible, aren't we? Just spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. And the treasure was inside you all along.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Speaking of treasure, one of my favorite movies as a kid to watch, and I don't know why, because as an adult, I don't understand why it would have appealed to a kid, to like a 10-year-old kid, was Jewel or Romancing the Stone.
Okay, I don't think I know that one.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Oh.
a great movie. It came
Wow,
out in
does that
1984. It's kind of an Indiana Jones, but like a slightly more harder, sarcastic Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I can see that. And the first image, I guess one of the poster images definitely looks like they're trying to appeal to the Indiana Jones crowd.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a. I don't know. It's not a. It is not a Indiana Jones movie in all in
Hmm.
any way, shape, or form. There's some movies that you can watch and you can go, you know what? I wonder if that was really a Terminator movie that they just reskinned and called it eh. Or I wonder if this was like a Jurassic Park movie, but they just reskinned it and called it Dinosaurs in a Park. Whatever. Or the Preacher Velocipaster, whatever it's called. But no, this was not. I didn't get that vibe from it, but it was a fun movie. And at that time, of course, Kathleen Turner was pretty good to look at.
Well, unfortunately, that came out just before I was born.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
thanks. Rub that in. I'm old.
Danny DeVito as well. Wow.
Yeah, Danny DeVito was in it. Michael Douglas was in it. Zach Norman. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cost. I guess it's on Disney Plus. I can probably check it out.
Yeah. Well, and then Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner did several movies together too. They did Jewel of the Nile, which was a sequel to this one.
Mhm.
And that's kind of a the treasure was in you all along type movie, you know.
Hmm.
And then they also did the one where they're married, War of the Roses. And that was entertaining as well.
I have a feeling I've seen the Jewel of the Nile.
It's possible. That was one where you could watch it without having seen the first one and still understand what was going on.
I mean, you could say that about the Indiana Jones movies too. So
Yeah.
the annoying thing is that I actually had an idea for a topic tonight, but it kind of required Gaming with ADHD Brian to be here because he partially inspired it.
Okay. Can you hint as to what the topic was?
Oh yeah, I'll talk about it. So we'd been talking about Voltron and Power Rangers, right? Well, mainly he'd been talking about that CGO was about to launch their Kickstarter for the Voltron RPG.
Okay.
Never going to back anything they do again, so it doesn't matter. But he was tormenting me with that, and I was saying about how even without CGO's last fuck up, basically, I wouldn't be interested in Voltron anyway because it's half the advertising of the Kickstarter is the Voltron Legendary Defender series, which I didn't even make it through to the end of the second season because I started having problems with the show, and that created a train of thought that led me to what happened to Saturday morning cartoons and what happened to the heroic theme score. That show, when they formed Voltron, has, I'm going to refer to it as a lame duck theme song.
So I don't recall. I mean, I had Voltron. I had I had like 2 or 3 different versions of it. There was, oh gosh, if I remember, there was, just jog my memory here. So there was one that was uh lions,
Yep.
and they kind of bent and formed like a leg or an arm or whatever, and you could put them all together to make one big giant robot. And I had one that stood about about 3 feet tall, not that big, stood probably about a foot tall, foot and a half tall. But
Mhm.
then there was another one that I had that was smaller, that for some reason I remember it kind of being more like fantasy themed. Like, it wasn't lions, it was, I'm looking up the toy, but I do remember watching the cartoon back in the 80s, when it was out. And I do remember too that that was one of my favorite things to do on a Saturday morning. Was, everybody else was asleep, I was up, I'd turn, fix a bowl of cereal, Fruit Loops or whatever we had,
Mm.
and sit there and watch cartoons while the milk dribbled down my chin, and it was great. I loved it.
Mm.
And I mean, I'd watch the Smurfs, I'd watch uh, Fat Albert, all the old classic stuff now. And I don't know what happened. I can't recall what year it was that I'd get up to watch. And I think it was about the era that when Saved by the Bell started coming on, that they got away from cartoons and kind of went more towards like live action stuff.
Mm.
And it just slowly, yeah, I think just one by one, it just slowly started eroding away. Maybe TV was kind of following the age bracket of the kids. I don't know.
Mm. But yeah, that, because there's a couple of channels that I watch. I won't overly point out because one of them is absolutely massive. And God forbid they destroy my little tiny channel. um,
Does it begin with a D?
no,
Okay.
it has a easily recognizable three-letter initial, though.
Kenner. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, they did one of their discussion videos, and one of the main focus of it was the Voltron Legendary Defender cartoon. That's on Netflix, and talking about how the show was like really great and it improved on like the nostalgia and the ideas that the original Voltron cartoons kind of had there, and etc., etc., etc. So, like, I wouldn't say that my standards for going into it were high, but they were at least not, this is gonna suck. And when I started watching, I adjusted my expectations, like through the first season. I adjusted my expectations because I saw that clearly they were utilizing, a streaming services design and making a longer form story through the episodes, right?
Okay.
So that's fine. It's not going to be like a syndicated cartoon. It's not going to be, 20-minute episode. You got to get through all the beats for the pilot, right? That's fine. They take their time. it's after like 4 to 6 episodes that they finally form Voltron. That's fine. Take your time. By the time I stopped watching well, not halfway, I think just before the end of season 2, they had formed Voltron 3 times. I might be off by 1 or 2, but I don't think I'm off by that much.
And was this supposed to be like an origin cartoon?
What do you mean?
I mean, as best I recall, I mean, every Saturday morning when I watched like whatever it was, whichever version of it was that I was watching, I mean, they came together as Voltron, in every episode.
Yeah. It was a Sentai. That's kind of how the formula works.
Right.
But with this, it's like they were focusing on the human drama, and that's not a bad thing.
I see what you're saying.
But
yeah,
it's at the detriment of like the development of the story.
right.
And like even in the original Lion Voltron, which is what this one's based off of.
That's the one. Yeah, Lion Voltron. That's right. That was the fantasy one I was trying to say earlier.
Okay. Even with that one, they had, one of the main characters die and be replaced by another character. And that happened and then continued like that. So it's...
Yeah, so that kind of begs the question. I mean, I see too many people, or not see, let me rephrase. I see a lot of people complaining about, like, just with Dungeons and Dragons, the one of the more popular, or let me rephrase that, one of the more mainstream role playing games out there, that people have a hard enough time trying to find other players to play. And with Voltron, I mean, you need at least 5 players plus a DM or GM, whatever they're going to call it, to play. And I mean, that's such a lesser known property. How are you going? Hey guys, let's get together and let's play a role playing game of where you're playing a metallic lion, and then we can all come together and make this one big giant robot that well, Bob and Tina, you guys can be the arms and the hands, but you have to work together because when you're fighting this big bad guy, you don't want to swing right and the other one swings left, because then you'll end up hitting each. I mean, how is that going to work?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so, and that brings up another point, right? Because there's 3 Voltrons.
Yeah.
There's Lion Voltron, 5 pilots. There's the very, very, very little known Alberga Voltron, which is 3 pilots and 3 units. And then there's Vehicle Voltron, which is 15 pilots in 15 vehicles. So which Voltron
What about
are you
Gladiator
playing?
Voltron?
Oh, yeah, Alberga was also known as Gladiator Voltron.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? That might be the fun thing about the role-playing game is I wonder if it's going to appeal less to the role players and more to the avid fan that just would like to have a copy of the book to see if it goes into the different types of Voltrons that are out there. I mean, I don't know. I don't care one way or the other about it. It's not one that I would ever pick up and want to have. But I would be, just out of morbid curiosity, I wouldn't mind taking a look at the book just to see, what all content is in it. Like what does it reference? Does it reference the 3 different ones, or are they going to go with
create
a fourth? Yeah, create new one. Yeah. Don't know.
Mm. Um, and okay, so this brings me back to what I was going to then blast Gaming with AD about too, because partially the whole reason why this circled around to Power Rangers was because Humble Bundle have been doing uh, bundles of Renegades RPGs.
Yeah.
They started with Transformers and they've now done Power Rangers. And so I picked up both of them. So I've got what is it? Oh, it's something like the field guide to um cross combination or something. And it
Hmm.
basically outlines how you can use all of Renegade's RPGs in one setting. And the front cover has the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord fighting um,
My Little Pony.
Devastator. No, fighting Devastator, the Decepticon Transformer, with a GI Joe on the um,
Yeah.
uh, Megazord. The thing is, they hadn't released My Little Pony when they made the field guide. Hence why there's no My Little Pony on it.
Right. I mean, and look, I joke about that, but and I just stated this in the chat.
Mm,
Elfbait was talking about some of the other IPs out there that make him really scratch his head, like Planet of the Apes is one,
mm,
and I just made mention that My Little Pony is one that kind of confuses me, but I still would like to have it just to do a review of it on my channel.
mm.
I I don't know. I mean, there's something about it that okay, I I'm I don't care about the brand My Little Pony in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't do anything for me.
Mhm.
But what I do find fascinating about it is that the target audience that it would be aimed at, and that would be, well, I guess part of that core audience would probably be what you would refer to as the brony, which are the adults that are into it. The diehard dudes that are into My Little Pony. But
I
ultimately, I
believe
think
we've got
it's
a friend.
targeted.
I believe we've got a
What?
friend in that category.
Okay. But the overall target demographic is kids,
Mm,
and I think that's why I want. That's what I would want to look at it from that perspective, is to see how it's set up for the mindset of a 9, 10, 11, 12 year old.
mm,
And it's one of those things that's like, okay, so if they can competently pull off a role playing game for a small kid like that, then that hooks that kid into a fascinating world where when they grow out of the My Little Pony phase, they'll start seeking other role playing games out there. Get them while they're young. Get them
mm.
hooked on the drug while they're young. And I think that's an interesting take on it, because we don't really see too many other role playing games out there that are catered specifically for little kids. Consider this, and I've asked you about this before. I know your kids don't do this, but tea party. When the kid decides, hey, mom, dad, let's have a tea party. And they have their little stuffed animals all set up around a table, and cups that are not filled with anything. So maybe they are, and they just role play out having a tea party. That's role playing.
Mm,
It may not be dice involved. They may not be rolling a D4 to see how many sugars you want in your tea, but that's still role playing.
mm,
And I think that I think that role playing is it, it's a part of our imagination, and I think that it's a natural thing for humans to want to do.
mm.
Having stuff in book form just kind of helps to uh, bundle that, I guess.
Mm.
And
Structure
I
the
don't know.
creativity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Mm,
something to kind of funnel your creativity towards. It gives you boundaries for what
mm,
you should or what you can imagine.
mm.
And but I mean, I think that's kind of cool that they came up with that. Renegade comes up with, kind of a universal system in which you can have Transformers versus GI Joes, and if you'd like to throw ponies in there, sure, maybe they all ride into battle on the back of, is it Sweetie Pie?
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah.
If Gotts was here, he would be able to tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, and what is his obsession with My Little Pony?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I reckon it's a coping mechanism for his day job.
Could be. Could be.
But yeah, having seen now the Essence 20 system that Renegade uses in both their Power Rangers and Transformers books, I would say if basically the same thing has been carried over for G.I. Joe and My Little Pony, I can definitely see how this could be something that you can introduce your kids into and kind of either keep them in there or like multiverse crossover with that other stuff, because it's got a lot of like freedom in its role playing. A lot of the tests and stuff, like the challenges, rolling your dice and stuff, a lot of that is basically designed as mechanics that you don't always need.
Right.
And I have a feeling that in the My Little Pony game, those modifiers are probably not in it to allow the kids to have a lot more expression.
Right.
At least that's what I'm guessing it's going to be like. Until I get my hands on the book. Yeah. Until I get my hands on a PDF or something, I won't know for sure. But that's what I'm guessing at the moment.
Yeah, and I didn't realize they too. Renegade also makes an expansion for Vampire the Masquerade, the card game.
Yep.
What the hell?
They've probably got more material for a Power Rangers card game than they have for their Power Rangers role-playing game that they make.
Yeah, and that's another one I just don't care anything about.
Which one's that? The card games?
Power Rangers. Yeah.
See, and going back to what I started about with, that's something that I found interesting because I've gotten back into Power Rangers in the last, 4 or 5 odd seasons. And I've noticed that even though, like, if you were to go watch, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Netflix or wherever you can watch it from, and like you're just looking at like tons and tons and tons of 90s cringe, this one doesn't feel as cringy. Like, there's still some in there. They still do those, oh, great, this is what an adult thinks young people do moments. But, like, they're so far reduced that it's, like, almost like a lampshading, I guess, of the franchise rather than, like, being pushed in because that's what the kids do.
Right. I think for me... go ahead.
But I found that, like, when I was thinking about the whole topic of, like, where did Voltron's, transformation theme music go? Why do we get this stale blur thing happening? And then I was looking at, rewatching these new seasons of Power Rangers, and I was like, every time they do a main transformation, the theme's there. It hypes you up to be excited that they're transforming. Either they're transforming into Power Rangers or the Zords are transforming into the Megazord. And it's like, yes, they do that still. Why are they still doing that? Why couldn't you do that? But yeah, you go.
No, all I was going to comment on was I think that may be one of the reasons why I didn't have much interest in Power Rangers, and for me it was Mighty Morphing, the original ones. Um, when I sat down to watch, I kept expecting them. I was looking at the overall colors and concepts. You've got your red, blue, green, etc., which is the exact same as what you had in Voltron, and so that's what I was recalling back in my memory was all the the Voltron stuff,
Mm.
and they would eventually get into these machines and become this big, large robot thing, and I guess I kept expecting the Mighty Morphing Power Rangers to morph into something, not morph from humans into, I'm just going to wear a costume. I kept expecting them to morph into this larger than life creature. And I never saw that. And I was like, well, I don't get it. I'm
See,
going to
that was the
go
cool
do
thing
something
about
else.
the Alien Rangers saga, because they did.
Yeah, and
When
see, at
they,
that point, I was so far out of it. It just, I never went back.
I mean, you would have had to get through what, like 5 seasons of Mighty Morphin to get to that. So I don't blame you. Hello, Gur.
Good morning. I literally woke up and I'm like, what time is it? Oh, this is happening. Let's go hang out.
Man, you're telling me. I'm was talking with Grim before and just like not quite arguing, but kind of trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to do this in the future? Because this is too early, and then you guys, like, well, some of you guys might be having your times change, and then
Well, I'll tell you this much. They're changing the schedule, like for some people at work. My shift doesn't change, but other people are changing shifts. And for the foreseeable future, I'm now working 5 days a week with 10-hour shifts and possibly 6. So I'm not complaining, but the point is I should be here early. To cover on Sunday morning for a while. So Brian's like, I'm not getting up this early on a regular basis.
No, I'm up. I mean, I was up 3 hours ago. I mean, I think I popped in here. Well, I mean, it was what I guess originally going to start about 39 minutes ago, and I popped in about 2 minutes late, but it's just because dog stuff happened, cat stuff happened. They all wanted food for some reason, wanted to go outside to use the bathroom. I mean, stuff like
Got
that.
it. Okay.
to be fair, I had a similar reason, which is why my camera was still off. Except I have to call them children, not the pets happen. But
Well, thankfully, my kids, I've got one that's almost 20, and I've got another one that's about 16 and a half. So they like to, they're at that state now where they sleep in late.
And they mostly fend for themselves. Mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an almost like my oldest is 23 and he's married and he has a kid on his way. And he mostly fends for himself.
Oh, so you're gonna be grandpa.
I am so excited about that. So and why shouldn't I be?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's the thing. You have kids, and I mean, when they're little, and like that's another 20 years in the future. You don't think about that,
Yeah.
Yes, I was talking about you, Seraphis. But as they're
no, Grim's already talked about grandkids because I said no to more kids.
That's fair. At least you have 2, so you didn't technically hit replacement rate, which I think is like 3+. But Anyways, but no, it's one of those where it is fun to think about, like you haven't done it forever, but the toy catalog comes in and then you're looking through, it's like, oh, we should get that for the baby. We should get that for the baby's not even here yet. We're already doing that.
To be fair, I'm looking through the toy catalog for Legos anyway, so
we just got the toy catalog for from Amazon, and it's got the Lego section in it. And one of the cool ones I saw was they've got a Lego version of the Dark Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
That's kind of cool. I mean, it's like 5,363 pieces or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Something
that
ridiculous.
Admittingly would be kind of cool, but
like weird, like alignment swapped versions of all the characters as well.
Yeah,
which was really weird.
I mean,
hey, you know what? Maybe that's enough to turn Disney around if they did that. A what if on what if Luke Skywalker became the Emperor? What if Luke Skywalker didn't save his dad?
Don't give them what if ideas.
No.
Come on.
No. What if Luke Skywalker? I'm probably gonna get somebody demonetized. Was a gay lesbian on the dark side.
Well, they already did that. That's called the Acolyte.
No. But now it's Luke Skywalker. Because I mean, that's what they're doing with everything else. So
yeah,
I'm trying. Fuck it. Put a chick in it and make her gay.
Yeah. No. Layman gay.
Yeah,
layman gay.
That I finally got around to watching that. That is so spot on.
Right.
Oh, the South Park episode.
Yeah. Into the Pendaverse. That is.
Yeah.
Grim and I watched that, and we were so shocked at just how
accurate
it was.
Grumpy.
That's a good one. Yeah. What if they wrote good shows and movies?
Whoa, Grumpy. Hey. Let's not get crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have something to shit on, right?
Some things are just not possible.
Hold on a second.
No, so he just left us.
Well, people come and people go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
guess he didn't like the cornbread either.
No one likes cornbread. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I really don't like cornbread. It's too crumbly. It tastes okay, but again, it's crumbly.
No, I'll grant you that.
I don't know what cornbread is.
You don't know what cornbread is? It's bread that's made from cornmeal.
Why would you do such a thing?
Why wouldn't you?
Some people like it. I don't care for it myself. I just don't. I never have, because like Brian says, it's too crumbly.
Oh, hold on. Why would you willingly put Vegemite in your mouth?
Beer.
It's the solid form of beer.
Yes. Now, I am making a bad joke with that. I don't care that you eat it. I understand that different cultures and different places do different things, but that is a question. That's the same kind of question. Why would you make bread out of cornmeal?
Why would you eat chitlins? I mean, that's just pig intestine that's been, mixed with some spices and cooked. I mean, pickled pig's feet for that matter.
Why would you eat feijoada? Okay, so clearly nobody knows what feijoada is. I'll give you the short answer. It's basically stew, but it's out of all the crap pieces of meat.
Yeah.
Now, in that
nothing
case,
goes to waste.
Well, in that case, though, it was slave food. This is, I mean, it's out of Brazil, obviously, because that's my experience. But yeah, but I mean, essentially, it was slave food. But now it's just one of those things that in Brazil is just part of the culture. So, and it's made with, like all, like you said, it's nothing going to waste. So, anyways.
So this is all of America makes disgusting food out of anything they get their hands on. Then
I think the whole planet
all of the
does.
world. Yeah, I completely agree with Brian. It's everywhere on the planet.
Agree to disagree.
You eat Vegemite. You're wrong.
It's beer.
But it's not beer.
It's
beer leftovers.
It's concentrated beer extract. So if you poured beer into a pan and then fried it till it congealed, that's what you'd get.
And why would you do that?
Because we got ported over Promite from what's it called? No, Marmite from the Poms, and then we're like, this is shit, let's make our own version. And so we used the one true thing, beer. And so we did the same thing.
Well, and wasn't it too that Australia at one point, or not at one point, but I'm sure multiple points, got bad beer, like rotten, stale beer, and just boiled the shit out of it, and that's where you get Vegemite from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, I get that. You can't really do that with sour milk, but you can make soap with sour milk.
Yes.
Huh. I didn't know that.
And of course, that's also what cottage cheese is well. I mean, that's what it used to be anyway. Sour curdled milk. Come on, you've opened up a thing of milk and went to pour a glass and it came out all chunky.
Yes,
but that's natural. All that is natural cottage cheese.
No, because we have food standards over here.
That's what the store's required to follow, not you.
Yeah, it's when I open my refrigerator and I haven't touched the milk in about 3 weeks because it's been hidden behind all the beer. Sometimes weird things happen. Sometimes the onions in the bottom shelf grow legs. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I still stand by my claim that, all food products, exist because of a dare at some point. Yeah. Nobody went to something like legitimately was like, I'm going to eat this. It was like, well, I'm really hungry. I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
Or whatever the equivalent was at the time. I think I told that joke with Seraphis around, and he was like, "They didn't have dollars back then." It's
no,
like,
it was Bear.
Shut up.
That was Bear that was doing that.
Oh, that was Bear? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I got it, and that was always one of the jokes that I would tell too. Is who was the first person that decided I'm going to go up to a cow and just tug on this and drink whatever comes out?
Right.
Yeah, but my cow only had one teat.
You got a weird cow, dude.
That milk was a little salty.
Just so you know, I thought it would be fun to also dual stream this to Twitch. I'm pretty sure my Twitch has now been cancelled. Thank you. First time going.
I did something?
Yeah, let's all go milk a bull, shall we?
Ew.
So about Voltron.
Vehicle Voltron is best.
Everyone's allowed to be wrong.
The shows don't hold up at all. I tried watching them years ago and I was like, this is not good. Oh,
What about Ultraman? Did any of y'all ever watch that one?
never watched Ultraman.
Oh man, that was one of my go-to cartoons. I'd get home from school. This is like from kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade. I'd get
Sure.
home from school and it would come on like 30 minutes later, and I would sit down every time, usually with a bowl of popcorn or a Pop-Tart, and I'd watch
As
it
one
for,
does.
yeah. And then immediately after that, G.I. Joe would come on. And this was always in the afternoon. It was G.I. Joe, and then Transformers came on after that. So, which I never really understood why they did Ultron, G.I. Joe, Transformers. It even back then, it made sense to me that it would have been Ultron, Transformers, G.I. Joe. Just
Ultraman.
because you've got, the Ultron and Transformers they're not the same, but they're kind of, same. Yeah, I think they would have both have appealed to the same demographic. But maybe that's, I don't know.
No,
that
because
was
then they're
years
getting
upon
that.
years ago.
Then they're getting that demographic to sit around for 30. It's like, oh well, the other show's coming on that I want to
Yeah.
watch, so I'm going to
Yeah.
sit through this one too.
That's a valid point.
So I don't know, but you are speaking my language with G.I. Joe. Yeah, that was always, well, that always jumped around. Sometimes it was in the morning, sometimes it was in the evening or in the afternoon. The worst, like, I loved Robotech, but they would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it would come on at, I think, like 2. Well, I wasn't getting home till like 2:15, almost 2:30.
Yeah.
Or it'd be on in the morning, and we were not allowed to watch TV in the morning at all. So, me like watching a lot of stuff was just almost impossible. Yeah.
So we kind of talked about a little bit before you got on. We talked a little bit about the My Little Pony. You've got that, right?
Yes.
So when are you gonna dive into that one?
So Kim, hold on one second.
Do you just have a hernia?
Just about. Come on, we're all old.
Yeah.
It's the old man grunt.
I understand.
So, just so you know, yes, I do have it right here. This is a physical copy.
Nice.
I even have the Game Master's screen.
I didn't write that, by the way. No relation.
Is it written by a Brian? I don't know. Technically, it's still sealed. I'm going to open it up. Technically, it's not even mine. Technically, it's Kim's.
But you're going to open it anyway.
Yes, I am. So the thing with the deep dives is, because I do want to do multiple types. I don't want to just do role-playing games, because I'm not just a role-playing channel.
Right.
So the plan is to mix it up. It was written by Ryan Costello and Andrew Popovich. Anyways, looks like you're in the clear. Anyways, so I do want to go through it. And I'd asked Kim if she would be willing to do it, and she didn't say no. So,
Well, I feel like at this point it's a race. I mean, I keep eyeballing it, but it's like the version that I want to get is like
the River Horse version.
Hold on, y'all talk about stuff. I'm gonna.
So this version right here is the Essence 20 version. I have all of the stuff for the River Horse version as well. The River Horse version came out maybe 7-8 years ago.
Has it been out that long, really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, so the one that I'm looking at would be the My Little Pony role-playing game. They've got the core rule book, which is $55, but that's not the one that I want. I want the... Okay, so the one that I would be getting, it's $90, and it's the starter bundle that comes with...
Hold on, but this is through Renegade, right?
Yeah, this is through Renegade, yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
that comes out...
it's the same one.
Yeah, so this one has the game core rule book, an adventure in a jam, a GM screen, dice bag, and then the PDFs for all that. That's weird. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't have.
So what I would recommend right now, because I don't think those bundles are going away, I would actually recommend holding off at the moment, because Renegade is doing something with Humble Bundle, and they already did Transformers. They're currently running one with
Power Rangers.
And it's like $40, and
Everything.
here's all of the PDFs. Do you get the core rulebook physical out of it? Or just all the miniatures?
No, with the Power Rangers one, we just got all the miniatures and a
set of dice.
journal book.
Did you say that there was a Game Master's book?
Yeah, there's a GM screen.
Okay.
That comes with.
That's what this has. This has the GM screen with it. Okay.
Yeah, there's no separate GM's book that I'm aware of. I think they've released like 3 or 4 others.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the plan is to do a deep dive with Kim eventually.
Well, it'll be a race. If I ever get any extra money, which doesn't look like it'll happen anytime soon. But the moment that I do, I do plan on trying to get that.
My frustration is, because of the way I do the deep dives, I want a digital copy of it.
Right.
But they are one of the ridiculous companies for digital. And I don't understand why. I don't know why any company does that. Like, because they want...
How do you mean?
It's $40 for the PDF.
Oh, right.
I already bought the book for $55. And like,
Atomic Empire has the book for $35.99.
Okay. Well, I mean, I always talk in like retail pricing, because yes, you can find a sale anywhere, but is it on sale? Is it in stock? Whatever. I think we got it for like $38 at a game store in Vegas. So
I follow you. I got you.
But yeah, so they're already charging $55 for the core book, and then they want $40 for the PDF, and it's like, number one, that's too expensive for a PDF. Like Catalyst, I will give props to Catalyst. Like, all their hardcover books are $50, and the PDF is $20. And I think 20 is a reasonable price for. Oh, stop it, Seraphis! You're gonna get your stuff eventually. Yes, it's annoying. Not you. It's annoying that you haven't got your stuff yet. That's what I meant. But yeah, it's. I get that. Yes, PDF is still very cheap, but I mean, they're still having to pay all the writers and the artists and all that kind of stuff. They're just not having to pay to produce the physical object. So, but I think like 60% off of cover price, I think is pretty decent for doing a digital version. 10% off for a digital version is not reasonable.
There's something else to their PDFs as well. They use a system so that when you collect your PDFs from their website, they are watermarked.
Yeah, but Drive-Thru-RPG does watermarks as well.
Yeah, I haven't noticed them as badly as these ones though.
No, I've got a lot of them from drive-through. It puts my name on the watermark.
Yeah.
But it's done in such a small, low place on it that
this is like
it
a
doesn't matter.
small banner down the bottom of every single page of the PDF with my name, the date, and everything that I
Yeah.
got it on.
Yeah.
And which is why that even if I wanted to, I'm not going to share them with anyone because there's too much private information right there.
Yeah, it's I get the desire for DRM on stuff like that, and yeah, which is funny because they do that, but there are ways to remove it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I wasn't going to get into that part.
No, it's just one of those things where it's like it always comes down to that opportunity cost.
Mm.
You know, and like if the more like think about it. When Netflix started streaming and they had the catalog for everything, did you realize that file sharing almost completely collapsed?
Mm.
Because it's $10 for streaming off of Netflix, and I have everything.
Also, no, but anyway.
Well, no, it didn't go away, but it was significantly curtailed because people were willing to pay $10 because I've got everything.
Yes, because our connections in the US and the UK who were supporting those file sharing systems basically went, oh, well, Netflix is giving us everything. We don't really need to do this anymore. Not knowing that in other countries, we get about 10% of what you guys get. So we still needed that.
No, the funny thing, sure, but I'm getting to a bigger point is that eventually all the other companies like, oh, I'm going to do my own streaming service. So now there's 1,000 streaming services that if, to get to what you want to watch, on a regular basis, you're paying just as much as when you had cable anyways, and so file sharing is on the rise again, and it's the same kind of thing with the PDFs. Like, drive-through, if you give me decent prices, put a watermark on there that's relatively unobtrusive. It's tiny. It's just in the corner. It's, kind of blended into the background of kind of blended into the background of the page. Okay, I can tolerate that. But no, you put a giant banner across the thing with a neon background, all of, like, oh, you purchased it from this IP on Tuesday. It's like, really? All you're going to do is drive people to pirate it. So,
because like once I started, because I was telling you about how I was looking into the Essence 20 system and how like it has some really cool qualities, and I can see why they made that field guide for crossovers, because that system seems to lend itself very well to blending all those kind of different types of universes and aspects. I'm not quite sure how you enter in My Little Pony into that, but it still sounds fun regardless.
I just want to have G.I. Joe show up at My Little Pony, not really realize what's going on. Why are the horses talking? And they're armed with high caliber weapons. And let's see what happens.
oh, Brian, that can be how we take down Cobra La. There you go. My Little
Cobra
Pony
La Part 2.
My Little Pony takes down Cobra La.
Hold on 1 second. What, Kim?
The ponies will make the Joes be friends with them. That's how it works. They're going to be friends, and then the ponies and the Joes are going to go shoot up Cobra.
Are you saying that friendship is magic?
Friendship is magic.
And then, unbeknownst to the Joes, the ponies will then slide into that empty, vacant spot that the Cobra was in, and they'll become the big bad evil guys.
Yes, they will.
And then a cloud in the sky will part, and there'll be a
Joes will
rainbow
ride
that comes
off
down.
into the sunset.
The Joes will what?
Ride the ponies off.
The Joes will ride the ponies off to the sunset.
No. Once the ponies become the new Cobra, the clouds will part, a rainbow will come down, and we'll get lots of multicolored teddy bears that come down. And they'll shoot their rainbow bellies at the ponies to make them good again. Let's see how many franchises we can squeeze in here, shall we?
I was going to say, I hate all of this just on principle, but this is awesome. No, I haven't read through the rules for Essence 20 for a while. But I remember reading it, and it didn't seem like it was any kind of an issue. It seemed like a decent system. It's basically D20, plus an extra die based on your stat and your skill. So, like roll against a target number.
Yeah.
I think somewhere you've got to throw Teletubbies into the mix.
They're not
You gotta have a
Hasbro property,
Teletubbies
though. Why?
Fine. If we're going to go American cartoons, then we
It's
get to
British.
throw Bluey in. No. If the UK get to throw in Teletubbies, we get to throw in Bluey.
Yeah, but I would totally play the hell out of a Bluey game. Bluey's hilarious. And I say that as, like pushing 50. I'm willing to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just don't try to get a Bluey dollar coin.
I hate every single one of those cunts. I hate every single one. And I especially hate that Ozpost worker who stole 600 boxes.
600 boxes.
Not stock, boxes.
Yeah. Like, what, it was a box of what, like 1,000 each or something?
I don't know.
I have no clue what y'all are talking about.
I set Seraphis on a tear earlier this week. We talk a decent amount because he's putting the kids to bed while I'm still working, so he's up late, and so we chat. But a friend of mine, apparently Australia put out dollar coins stamped with Bluey on it. Which, this would just be a fun, like when they did like the state quarters or the national monument quarters, here
Right.
in the US. And so I was like, that would be fun. So I just sent the image over to Seraphis. I'm like, I just need a lot of these. Obviously, I'll pay for them, not knowing any of the story. And let's just say that I angered Seraphis a lot by bringing this up. So,
Yeah, this is the one I have, and it's going to my cousin. This is all I could get. It took me a week and a half.
So now tell him the story of what it is, what happened.
Oh,
So I'm
Or do
looking
you
it
want
up.
me to
So
tell it?
Royal Australian Mint released a limited run program of colored coins featuring Bluey. Okay, so I get that. And then it looks like one of the postal workers stole about $400,000 worth of those coins.
mm-hmm. And as far as I know, yep.
Well, but I mean, I guess they caught the guy, so those coins should be. I mean, once trial and everything is all said and done, won't those go back into circulation, or are they just going to keep those in evidence in perpetuity?
Did they collect the coins?
The majority already got shipped out to people buying them on eBay because they were released a week or 2 weeks before the promo was meant to begin.
Gotcha.
So the majority of that stock already got distributed, and here's the fun
Gotcha.
part, across the world.
Oh, wow.
And due to how our charming government works, it's particularly one party who loves to sell off government-owned assets to give them to private owners, our Australia Post system isn't actually like government run anymore, and so they don't want to recall those, stolen illegal items. So yeah,
But they also don't want to. They also don't want to, kill the value on the secondary market,
Right.
and print more of them.
oh no, but that's the thing. They were so the Australian Mint was meant to be printing like a month or two before it happened, and then through September we're going to, or up until like the first or second week of September, we're meant to continue printing because of the estimated intent. There's collectible coins as well as the random ones going out in circulation. The collectible ones, that uses a completely different machine that prints
Collectible coins.
Yeah, but it looks and is the size of regular coins. So it, for all intents and purposes, passes as what's the word? Functional currency, basically, right?
Mhm.
Like the one I showed.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Australia Post went, actually, due to all this, just stop printing. Just stop. Screw it.
So in essence,
Meanwhile-
that alone is going to cause the collector price to skyrocket, won't it?
Yep. And as I told Gaming with ADHD, I haven't heard an update as to what happened to the rest of the stock that was able to be retrieved. And knowing how... Oh, okay, I'm going to get slightly political here, so if you don't care about Australian politics, go fuck yourself, but, whatever. Due to how the government works here, for all intents and purposes, they could have taken the stock, returned it to the Australia Post, had the higher ups take the stock, and are now sitting on it to increase its value. Because that's the kind of assholes that are in charge. I mean, for God's sake. Okay, fuck it. I'm on my political tangent. Go fuck yourselves. You know how you guys, like, Americans complain about Trump? He might be a, wannabe king, all the rest of that dictator. Blah, blah.
Right.
We actually had that happen. Our previous prime minister took every portfolio so that he was running the entire country without any checks and balances. He didn't have a cabinet. He was the whole cabinet, which means he could make every single decision without consulting anybody. Right? Do you know what's happened? Nothing. Nothing has happened. Why? Because there's no rules in our government system to punish criminal actions, even if they are actually traitorous actions against the country. If you're a politician, you can fucking kill someone, apparently. So yeah.
I mean, when you found your country on criminals anyways, what do you expect?
Yeah, I know, but he's such a smug cunt. This is the same. This is the same guy who, when our country was on fire a few years back.
Yes.
Yep. When that happened, he was the prime minister at the time, and he fucked off to Hawaii for a vacation.
Who wants to live in all that smoke?
He didn't. He was living in Queensland. He was living on the coast where you couldn't see anything.
Right.
Meanwhile, his previous successor, who he had helped knife in the back to get him removed as the first prime minister of their party. Yeah, he's the third in the line, by the way. He was actually a volunteer firefighter, and so he was actually in the fires at the time. And I hate Tony Abbott, but as a politician, but as a man, that guy at least was doing something. That fucking marketing cunt fucked off to Hawaii. He can go fuck himself, and he needs to fucking die.
Or print more bluey coins. One of the two.
No. At this point, it's not even going to make a difference because he's fucking sold out our country.
Oh.
Because you know that AUKUS deal?
What?
AUKUS? AUKUS?
No.
Okay, so it's meant to be a defense alliance pact.
Okay.
Australia, the UK, and the US. You guys have not heard anything about this, have you?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Our president's asleep, so
I prefer
theoretically or dead.
I prefer Gossim Rome's opinion, which is he's got very bad necromancers keeping him animated.
Yes.
But regardless. So it was the previous guy who negotiated that deal. But it's the current guy who has to finish signing off on it because it's kind of like a like think of it like, you know, any kind of business lease or something, right? Even if you weren't the manager at the time of the head of the company at the time, you've still got to, like, you know, sign off on the lease because the business is still part of that, right?
Right.
Well, that's what the current prime minister is in the situation of. This is a terrible deal because the previous... Yeah, fuck it. The previous cunt, because I can legitimately say that, because thank you, Federal High Court of Australia. God, I love my country sometimes.
Clearly, we can tell.
Yeah. Look, there's not many times where you can go... by the way, this happened with the Tony Abbott thing. The whole reason why we can go out there and say that our prime minister is a cunt is because of Tony Abbott being sued by suing a guy who called him a cunt on television. He sued him, and the High Court of Australia said, technically, you're a public figure. You've got to kind of deal with that. So
we can do it. We can do it because of this pesky thing called the First Amendment.
Yes, but we can't because your CIA removed it from our constitution back in 2006.
I mean, if it was that easy to remove, was it ever really there? Like ours, you literally have to change the constitution. Like you literally have to pass a constitutional amendment, which ain't happening. Which is why we still have the Second Amendment.
Yes, I know how hard it is over there, and it's generally tends to be kind of hard over here.
Anyways,
on matters that don't matter, ironically, which is just fucking stupid. Anyway. The reason why, okay, AUKUS, focus.
Yes, but come on, this is gaming with ADHD. No, well, okay, this is Seraphis' channel, but I'm here, so.
So the reason why this is terrible, right, is because part of the deal requires us to retire our current fleet of submarines. Half of our Air Force unit is also meant to be retired by now, because we're meant to be getting those Joint Strike Fighter planes of you. That you guys were meant to be making. However, part of that is written off. Yes, Malfoy. Part of that is put in that it's at the discretion of the US Congress. So if it's deemed in your Congress that you need the submarines more, we don't get any submarines. If it's deemed that you need the joint strike fighters, we don't get any strike fighters.
Right.
We have crippled our defense force through this
Waiting
pact.
for us to ship the stuff out.
Yes. Meanwhile, do you know what he did? The previous guy, the cunt?
No.
He gave the US military 2 more of our bases in Australia.
Are we using them?
Yes. To commit war crimes with drones. It's a continual thing that we keep reporting that apparently is not getting out to anywhere else.
Yeah, I have issues. I have like the drone thing is like it's cool because it's
drones as a concept is really, really cool. I agree with you.
right.
I want robo dogs and stuff too. I want cool flying things around too. But the idea of let's destroy that because that's a military target. Bang. Whoops. No targets, all civilians. Let's just say they had a gun.
Yeah, that's and that's weird being for me because being relatively pro-military, but then also it's just like why is everyone being a bunch of turds?
And don't get me wrong, I've got extremely strong ties to my own defense force. So I've got family and friends who are either current or have retired from service. So, I'm not trying to say that the defense force as a whole is a bad thing. I'm pointing out that when you use things, when you go do bad things, maybe you should be told off for it.
Yeah,
like
I'm moving that direction too.
like I'm not against anyone having a military. I'm not against anyone having a defense force, but you should at least be as accountable as a civilian is accountable to going over to someone and then stabbing them to death.
Right.
And if you do that to like a household of people, you should be as equally punished.
Well, and that's where it gets difficult because okay, it's it's the 18-year-old kid flying the drone, quote unquote. I'm just
no,
I
know that analogy.
But it was the leadership that issued the order. So where exactly along the line, does it, do we decide to assign accountability? But
as with all things, you start at the top.
Sure. Let's just say that I'm not entirely isolationist, but I'm slowly moving that direction. Like I've said for years, close down the US bases in Europe. Like everybody, like one of the things that everybody gives Trump grief for is because he went to all of Europe and said, hey, that treaty that we signed where you're supposed to put 2% of your GDP into your defense budget. Could you, maybe start doing that? And everybody got all, oh, well, how could he talk to those countries like that? It's like, you mean ask them to hold up their side of the bargain? How's this a bad thing? But I've said for years, just shut it down. Close down Ramstein, close down, the UK Air Force bases, whatever. Just shut it all down, bring all the stuff home. and then you all deal with it.
And that's the funny thing. Like, our defense force has proven in war games that we're easily a match for your forces in opposition in our war games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even with the older tech that we were using, we didn't need your help. So, and it, sorry, I'll add one other thing. So the cunt previous prime minister, do you know how this whole thing is being arranged? Through
Poorly.
a company.
Oh.
Do you know who owns that company?
The previous prime minister.
Yep. Got it in one.
I mean, that was a layup, Seraphis. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's so corrupt on every level. Like, this guy has basically set himself up to make billions of dollars until this thing ends, which it basically has a 20-year contract. So how, basically, if he were to, fall onto the paved walk and be mysteriously dead for some reason, his family would still be okay with that money and the 8 houses that they own across Australia.
Yeah.
So when I say he's a cunt, I thoroughly mean he's a cunt. There are people who don't own a house, and this motherfucker owns 8 and can buy 1,000 more because he's a corrupt cunt of a motherfucker. So, yeah, it so annoys the crap out of me that there's no accountability in our government system to punish him, to punish any of them.
Yeah.
Because they can just go, oh, well, what was it? Parliamentary protection. That's what it's called. We've got parliamentary protection because we were serving in office at the time. It's like, oh,
yeah. I mean, that's everywhere. And real quick for Galaxy Fox Night Sky, yes, 8 houses, because have you seen how big Australia is? It's just easier to have a house in each state. That way when you're traveling.
Yeah, Australia is about the size of the United States. Maybe a little bit bigger. Roughly the same size. Could be a touch smaller.
Continental United States.
Yes, continental United States, yeah.
And I only point that out because that it's just easier to visualize on a map. Without having to try and grab Alaska and pipe that in. Anyway. Well, let's stop making Seraphis angry. Or should I say Game Masters.
Seraphis, what makes you happy?
I'll let you know in a bit.
Fair enough.
The jury's still out on that one. So Game Masters.
What makes you angry?
No. I wasn't talking to
Waking
Brian.
up.
I was talking to Game Masters.
Oh, okay.
No. Just watching the smile slowly go across Brian's face is fantastic.
Did you not realize that we were doing that all last week too?
No. Well, I remember you pointed it out at right as I was leaving last week, but I didn't realize. No, he was I swear it was labeled Seraphis not too long ago.
At the beginning, yeah, but at least 40 minutes ago I changed it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to try and get us off of all, Seraphis's angry rant, because he clearly was not going to have a good night if we kept down that path.
Oh no, I really need to vent that at some point.
That's
So that's good for my mental health.
I know it's your channel, but like again, I as Bear has said, this is kind of my role. I wrap us back around to the topic. Let's
Out with the negative, in with the positive.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I was gonna say, so speaking of military, let's go back to the G.I. Joe role-playing game.
Yo Joe.
Have you looked at that one at all?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Humble Bundle.
No, okay, so you haven't looked at it yet.
Well, yeah, I've looked at the stuff on Renegade's website though.
Okay, got it. We'll talk later.
Okay.
I might have found a copy of that one. So no, actually one of the things that I actually do like about it, obviously this is going to be a spoiler for any review that I finally get around to doing. I actually thought it did a really good job at presenting military roles, like how you build a character, like because so essentially like you have like an origin, and for this, and I think it's under the origin category, but essentially it's like are you Navy, Air Force, Army, or some sort of first responder. So those are your origins. And but then it's also kind of interesting because they'll have Navy. Oh, well, if you want to do Marines, okay, we'll do Navy, but now change these things and add these infantry, kind of Army categories in. Or if you're in the Army, but you're because in the US, like the Army, still flies helicopters, and so okay, now you can take pilot stuff from the Air Force and slide that in. And so I thought it was really interesting how they still tried to take all of those aspects and bring it in so that while you were making your characters. So that's one thing that I'm interested to try out with the game, because I do think it gives a lot of flexibility. So I struggle with open games. Like making a character in Shadowrun is difficult for me. Because
Ome?
What?
Ome?
I don't know. No, just because of the you can do anything. Like there is no if you build your character this way, well then it's a Decker or a Face or a Street Samurai. But again, you're just presented you're presented with the bucket of Lego and just told to build something. And my brain just doesn't necessarily work that way.
Have you never used Ome before?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a site online that helps you go through making your character.
Okay.
In Shadowrun.
And that's fine, but that's a secondary source. Okay. Like we're talking about taking a book off the shelf and using it. So, but so my main issue there is I do get lost. So I kind of like class systems because it's a much easier assembly line for how to put a character together. So what I think is interesting about Essence is it's still sort of a class system, but it does have a little bit of that flexibility. Like I said, it's like start with this origin, but then here's a couple things you can do to twist it, and give you flexibility off of that.
Did you end up looking at the Transformers one?
Not yet.
No. They did something similar with Transformers in how you build your Transformer character. Because, you've got the robot form and then the alternate form, but then you've got things like triple changes, you've got the Gestalts, the combiners, and then things like that. And so what?
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm going to play a transformer, but I want to transform into that one that just turns into a cassette tape and just sits there. And then I'm going like, how the hell would I role play that? Well, I'm going to rewind myself. Everybody standing around you, they don't really know what you are because they've never seen a cassette tape before.
So you're talking about playing in the modern day. So that adds an entirely new element to that idea.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what struck me as funny. Sorry.
well, no, but I mean, like, no, you bring up a good point. It is like there is some stuff that works great in a television show, but it does not translate to a game. Like I could see like being the cassette player, but then like you have like the little cassettes like as like equipment, for lack of a better way to put it.
I think they're focuses, if I remember correctly.
I had that as a toy, and I never could quite figure out, like, what am I supposed to do with this? I ended up using it more as like a little fidget than anything else. Because, I mean, like, it's going to transform into cassette tape. What does it do?
Well, no, but remember, there's technically the cassettes, and the cassette players, they're all infiltrators. They're all spies.
Yeah.
So, we didn't necessarily understand that as kids, but still.
And the funny part about that is that if you've got one that's gone like deep cover for a while, and you've been playing around with it, how does that one deal later? Like, I got played with so much, like.
They rewound me. They put me in, and they hit the rewind button so many times.
I only had 8 songs in memory. I'm so tired of it.
If I have to listen to Tiffany, I think I'm alone now one more time.
Yeah. Who loaded that in me anyways? Jeez, guys.
And we only found out after 400 rotations of it that if you turn me around, there's a whole different group of songs.
Just once I would have wanted to play Living on a Prayer.
They had Metallica on that side, but they never turned me around.
I approve all of this timeline.
We are old. We get all these.
Wasn't there like
a
blue cassette tape and a red cassette tape?
Yeah,
they had like a whole series of them. Oh, the
players.
You mean the players?
Yeah, Soundwave and Blaster.
Yeah, there was the Decepticon and the Autobot version.
Yep. Evidently there was a yellow one as well. Steel Jaw.
Oh, that's the cassettes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the cassettes they did a whole bunch of them. There were like 8.
Buzzsaw was one of them. Overkill,
Rumbler,
Onslaught, Rumble, Frenzy, Ravage, Ratbat, Laserbeak, Buzzsaw, Onslaught, Overkill, Autodoc, Glint, Garboil, Wing Thing.
So it looks like there were 16 total.
Yeah, I'm just naming off Soundwave's ones. If I go into
just
Blaster,
nerding out. That's all.
Yeah. I'm naming them off the top of my head too.
Yeah, let's see, Soundwave, Laserbeak. Yeah, no, I'd have to look it all up. Huh. Cool.
Oh, and then there's Flip Sides and Enemy as well.
There's no flip side.
Yes,
you can't turn the tape over. There's no second set of songs. Quit trying to give him hope.
Oh no, my intestines all flopped out. Anybody got a pencil?
They're talking to some people.
I mean, what would,
No,
what
you
would
don't.
today's
We're
equivalent be of the cassette tape? Oh, watch! I'm going to transform into an MP3 player.
I was gonna say, actually, I was gonna
They did that in the Bay movie.
right, but instead of an MP3 player, what I would actually say, like for a closer cassette equivalent, I was actually gonna say flash drive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but then what would like Soundwave and Blaster turn into? Would they turn into like a tower nowadays, or would they turn into like a NUC or something? Like,
probably okay. Flash drive is a little more difficult because I mean technically you would you'd say, you know, SD card, but we're dealing with micro SD cards. It's like
yeah,
you are not effective as a robot at that size. So
Just wait until I jump into your ear.
yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to scream so loudly.
But I think flash drive, just because again the size, but as far as Soundwave and Blaster, I'd put it at like, say, like a laptop. That would make sense to me. I think that wouldn't look out of place. It would look really weird when it starts shooting flash drives out of it, you know. It's like, where are those coming from? My laptop doesn't have compartments.
What did you eat?
Yeah. So those like, yeah, but that is interesting because because all of that stuff is just super dated. You know, it's still fun to go back and watch, but yeah, like looking at it now, okay, that like some of those characters just wouldn't translate very well.
And you know, as we're pointing out, how would you even really like? I think one of the best ideas that they kind of touched on was in the Transformers Prime CGI cartoon. They had Soundwave transform into a drone, and Laserbeak was a you know, like a regular civilian type size drone that kind of latched onto the top of it. So Soundwave was flying around as a predator drone and then could eject off this small little spy drone to kind of buzz around and like gather intelligence.
I could see that. I mean, you lose the infiltrator aspect by going like,
no.
Well, no, because that
drones are pretty sneaky.
No, right. Well, like for the little ones, but what I'm talking about is like one of Soundwave's, you know, roles, like I said, was that infiltrator. You know, it's like, oh, nobody notices the boombox sitting on a chair. You know,
Who
so
picked up the boombox anyway? Oh, look, there's a boombox just sitting here. I think I'm just going to swipe it.
Right. So, of course, there is also the advantage when mass means nothing. Also
physics and space and time.
Right. I'm a 12-foot tall robot, but I mean, now admittedly boomboxes were pretty big in the 80s, but even then, you know, if you're going to turn into a 12-foot robot, where does that rest of the mass come from? You know.
Well, where does Optimus Prime's trailer go?
Also a pocket dimension, obviously.
Well, yes, that is a recurring theory. I mean, they're clearly not afraid of like subspace technology. They freaking have the damn space bridge, so we'll just teleport across the universe with our space bridge.
So, have y'all seen the promo for the new Transformers cartoon that's coming out?
Nope.
Which one's that?
It's a new Transformers cartoon that's coming out.
I
I don't know what it's called.
was gonna say you're gonna have to do a little bit better than that, Game Masters.
Transformers 1.
Oh, the movie. Yep.
Yeah, the movie. So the issue that I have with it is that they're on. So the whole premise is that Megatron and Optimus Prime, before Optimus Prime was Optimus Prime, he and Megatron were friends. And it even states that they were built like brothers. Okay. And it all takes place on the planet. Crap, I don't remember what.
Cybertron.
Thank you. And on Cybertron, there's at a certain point in the preview, there is a chase sequence between all of the Transformers, and you see several of them transform into vehicles, cars. And I'm like, how? Like, how did they transform into cars? Because like they didn't know what cars were until they hit Earth.
So
not necessarily.
The original.
Well,
cartoon,
I'm saying I'm sticking with the comic version of it, the comic book version, and that's.
Hold on, US or UK version? Because
the US version, I guess.
Yeah, the UK version had a different set that more closely resembled what the cartoon did, which showed that they had alternate forms when they were still back on Cybertron.
The US version did that as well. Like there's like you can just go to YouTube and I think it's like the Transformers channel or something. It's literally done by Hasbro, and they just took season 1, put a giant supercut together, and uploaded it, so you can just watch it. But yeah, so the very first episode, they all had quote unquote car forms. I mean, they made them look like sci-fi space robot car forms, but yeah, the transforming capability was there, before. Now the big question would be, do they transform into cars that we recognize?
Yes.
Because if they did, see, now that's dumb. It's like, why is he transforming into a Ford Ranger? There is no Ford Ranger on Cybertron 10,000 years ago.
10,000?
Or whatever, I don't know. However long ago,
4 million.
Sure.
Didn't you know that?
No. I was a G.I. Joe fan.
Same rights holder, damn it. Same rights holder.
I know that, but it doesn't mean that that's what I was a big fan of.
Well, we didn't have as close a schedule for G.I. Joe here as we did for Transformers. So I always knew when Transformers was going to be on. I didn't always know when G.I. Joe was going to be on.
Dude, G.I. Joe has always been the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, it did that same for us. I mean, it would jump like Brian was saying earlier. Sometimes it'd be in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, and even then it would jump around time slots. And I think there was at a certain point where they showed new shows in the morning, but reruns in the afternoons. I don't know. I mean, it was just I mean, that show was on for a long time, and I don't think they ever could figure out what to do with it.
Well, why would they?
Well, but I mean, they never. I mean, that's like saying they never figured out what to do with Transformers, but they kept doing stuff with it. No, it was just the general anti-military sentiment of the of the hippies. So they didn't want and then all the parents groups. Oh, you're glorifying. Shut up, old lady. Go away.
Oh yeah, and Smurfs was satanic because it had druids in it. Come on.
Let's be honest. Smurfs are pretty satanic, anyways. I mean, have you seen that? Like, they're blue. They're 3 apples high, and there's only one girl.
Now there's 2.
You ain't making it much better.
Is there a couple of trans ones in there too now?
Probably, but
Just to be inclusive. There's a John Oliver one, I know that.
what?
You know the
I know who John Oliver is. I didn't know he did anything with the Smurfs.
yeah, no, he's got his own Smurf, so he's basically a caricature of himself. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Kind of.
I filled up my swearing quota before, so the words I would usually say, I'm not saying.
Fair enough.
Well, we're approaching 1 a.m., so we should probably start the show soon.
Yeah.
As we do.
What do you mean? It's only 7:30.
For you bastards, maybe. Yes. I will figure out what to do next time because early.
No, Seraphis, this is your show. Just run it. Okay? Stick to your time. This is what you have available. You know, people will show up. I also told you I'm doing overtime, so I'll be getting here. You know, I'll be available to just log off and get in here. So, you know, I don't know exactly how long that will last, but
Well,
no, but just run your show. Don't run it based on us.
yeah, but
And I'm just along for the ride.
At least you're talking more today. So,
How much Vegemite would you have to eat to get drunk?
how drunk do you have to be to eat Vegemite?
Oh, well, I get up in the morning and eat it, so, you know, not at all. Oh, yeah, I forgot all the sleepwalking and grabbing a beer from the fridge I do. That's right. It helps with the hangovers. You can't get a hangover if you're just constantly going. See, that's why
get alcohol poisoning though.
Well, see, because we start from such a young age, it means that we become like immune to a certain level. So continuing up that level from the Vegemite just keeps us balanced, really.
There you go.
Also, you know, it helps us against the drop bears and things. So.
All right. Well, we shouldn't keep you so that you can go to bed because those children are going to wake up early.
They wake up at 6, the new 6 this morning, which technically meant they were up at 5. I got like 4 hours of maybe sleep.
Right. So we shouldn't keep this going much longer.
Also, next time I'm going to try and keep to like a close 1 hour schedule to maybe get more sleep.
Sure.
I realized the time. That didn't happen this time, but maybe next time.
Well,
so.
like my grandmother always would tell me, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, but Grim tells me off every time I say that.
You're saying she wants to keep you around?
Well, yeah,
That's
because
fair.
I help pay the bills.
That's fair.
She doesn't like me much else, but you know,
She
bills
really
get
doesn't.
paid.
She's quite sick of me.
Yeah.
Kim says she feels the same way.
She helps pay the bills.
No, she keeps me around because I help pay the bills.
Ah.
See, I told Grim that her and Kim get along great, have a lot in common. A lot of similar feelings about our respective partners.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hi everyone. This is Talking Drek. Yay! This is boring.
But we're still here
Yep. Hold on.
until he closes it.
Nope. That's Brian. That's Brian. I'm Seraphis. And we're going to talk about